How about a quick video editing showdown? I love all the people that say, oh, but who would really edit videos from their phones? Like TikTok isn't taking the world by storm, and every social media platform isn't trying to copy some form of on-the-go video content creation. Some people just choose to take that a little more seriously than others. And PowerDirector currently is sitting at around 100 million downloads on Google Play. LumaFusion is out on Android, and I've been using it a ton. It's time to share just a couple thoughts between the new hotness for Android, LumaFusion, and what I used to use and used to demonstrate the most on Android, which was PowerDirector. And immediately, you might be able to see one major difference that I'm trying to show you in this static shot right here. In terms of pricing, LumaFusion is the better buy. Currently, it's on sale because it's in beta. You can pick it up right now for 20 bucks. I bought it years ago on iOS. I've never spent another dime. But even at the full price of $30, this is still a way better buy than using something like PowerDirector, which is going to charge you a subscription of $34.99 per year. You might be asking yourself, Juan, why are you showing us this subscription page? I thought you've been using PowerDirector a whole bunch. And you would be a very smart viewer. You know, the kind of viewer who likes to smash bell icons and subscribe to YouTube channels offering wonderful commentary such as this. You're probably also really good looking. So this is my main Google account. This is the account that I have subscribed to PowerDirector on, and trying to use PowerDirector out in the field or in poor data or any place where PowerDirector cannot verify your subscription will lock up the app, and then the app is going to try and get you to subscribe again. This is a major problem with the current PowerDirector subscription model. I've already given them $35 for this year. My subscription runs out in April, and it's asking me to pay again. Not only is it asking me to pay again, it's serving me ads. Well, looky here, there's a little watermark. I've already paid to remove this watermark. I've actually paid twice. I was an old school PowerDirector user before they started the subscription model, where I was supposed to have watermark-free video in perpetuity, but they can't recover that purchase from Google Play way back in the day. And now I'm currently on subscription, and they still won't remove the watermark. Watch, if I try to remove the watermark and I go down to restore purchases, restore your purchases, okay, PowerDirector, I'm gonna allow, restore anyway. You currently have no Google Play Store purchases associated with this account. We just can't find it. Please give us more monies. We are PowerDirector. When you get to this point, the PowerDirector customer service people are basically going to tell you the same thing. Try to restore purchases, make sure you're logged into the right Google Play account. I do have 2 Google Play accounts, but this is my main one. I only have it installed on my Pixel 6a, the main app account that I use. The only way you can restore all of this is if you completely scrub the app. Like you've got to clear out the cache, clear out the data, uninstall the app, reinstall the app. Then it's going to go through the Google Play verification again, and then it'll verify your purchase and you can get back into editing. The problem with that, you've got to scrub the app. So if you had projects that you were working on and then it lost the ability to verify your purchase while you were out in the field, you're going to lose those projects. And the only way to verify those projects is to upload them to Google Drive. There is no other project exporting on PowerDirector. So this is miserable. The process of uploading an entire project to Google Drive and then downloading it to another device, or downloading it to the same device if you just need to restore your purchase, can take forever. This is a 1-minute project file I've got. I want to say it's got about 5 or 6 gig worth of video files and overlay and audio. This is my main testing project that I benchmark, and I've recreated it over here in LumaFusion, almost down to the exact frame, just as a timeline editing and rendering benchmark. I've been doing this since I was at Pocket Now. On PowerDirector through Google Drive, it has taken me over an hour to get this uploaded and downloaded and get the project repopulated on another phone. Before we had Android scoped storage, we used to be able to go into the PowerDirector folder and copy out the project file, and then you just have to manually move all of your video elements. It was a pain, but it was really fast. By comparison, on LumaFusion, if I want, I can export a LumaFusion project package. In one big container, it zips up all of your elements, all of your edits, all of your audio, and so you take that bucket and you can literally plug a cable into another phone and manually transfer it over to another device. Or if anything really happened and I needed to scrub the LumaFusion app, those little project containers can live in my documents. So I'd have all those little containers in my documents. I could scrub out the app folder, reinstall the app, and then repopulate all of my projects through those little containers. What takes PowerDirector hours of online management, I can do in minutes locally on LumaFusion. I could totally stop the video right here. That alone, how the app is managed, how you pay for the app, and how the app treats your project files is a solid win for LumaFusion. Like, it's not even a consideration anymore to put up with that hassle on PowerDirector if you're ever working in kind of a mixed mode environment. Say you want to shoot a bunch of stuff from your phone, but then maybe you want to edit it on a tablet. Moving project files is kind of a big deal. That's enormous. I absolutely love how LumaFusion handles all of this, and it respects you way more as a content creator. For 2 years since we've started dealing with Android scope storage, I've been talking to the people at PowerDirector. I've been emailing the people at PowerDirector. There is no good export option to handle our project files. There is no way to verify a purchase. All of the solutions for handling PowerDirector will not work unless you're on very good data. So if I'm on Wi-Fi and it takes me an hour to transfer this little 1-minute project, imagine how long that would take if I was on really poor 3G service way out in the boonies. That's a total no-go. Whereas on LumaFusion, in a dire situation, I could literally plug a flash drive or a portable SSD into my phone or a memory card in a card reader, anything I had access to. I could back everything up and keep it safe. Whew. All right, that's the big rant. That's the main thing that has really pushed me over into using LumaFusion, but there are a couple other functional differences between these two apps. Obviously, one of the biggies is the modular arrangement where you can change out how you like to organize your field of view. You can go with something a little more tablet-y, you can go with something really easy and just kind of phone-like. It is a joy moving back and forth between these different views when you need to focus on something specific like editing, or if you're trying to do a little bit more work where you need other project files. This whole window arrangement is super, super clean. It's one of the things that kind of puts people off LumaFusion when they first see it is this looks complicated. This looks like a full-fledged desktop editing solution, but you know, if you examine just a little bit, you can make this easier. Oh, I just want to see all of my list of other video files, or I just really need to focus on my timeline, and it's these views that also show up really well. This is gorgeous if you've got a foldable. LumaFusion by itself is kind of validating dual display and foldable phones. Putting this view on a Surface Duo 2 looks incredible. PowerDirector really doesn't have anything sort of analogous to that. They finally added a portrait view. I do like that this works, and this does improve the compatibility on phones like the Duo 2 and the Fold 4. And then of course they've always had, if I can get my phone to rotate, they've always had this as the sideways view. So, you know, that's handy, and they added this little bar so you can move up your timeline if you want a little bit better view of all your tracks, or you can move it all the way down if you just want sort of a preview window if you're trying to see what your edits look like. That's really handy. I don't like that as much. And look! Oh man, just getting another clip there, I got served another ad, disrupting my workflow. Sure am glad I spent $35 on PowerDirector. When it comes to the practical editing between these two, LumaFusion is the better nuts and bolts editor, dropping files into your timeline, having multiple tracks to play with, multiple tracks that all support 4K video. Whereas in PowerDirector, if you try to add multiple video tracks, only your main timeline is in 4K. The additional videos that you add get transcoded down to 1080p. The ability to control transitions is a little bit nicer on LumaFusion. How you can zoom in is a little nicer on LumaFusion. And the really practical stuff, like how you handle keyframes, how you can speed ramp. So for example, how you control the speed of the playback. So if you shoot, like for right now, I'm super into shooting 4K at 120 frames per second. It sounds like overkill, but then you slow that footage down to 1/4 or 1/5 slow motion, and it looks absolutely stunning. Go take your kid out to a park, shoot 4K 120, and you'll have the most bomb, just the most amazing family home videos watching that 1/5 speed slow motion in full 4K. And LumaFusion handles that like a champ. Your audio keyframe controls, and then also your pan and rotate, being able to swap in LUTs and color correction. The practical nuts and bolts editing, way better here on LumaFusion. Now, what PowerDirector does better is some of the more fun stuff. PowerDirector has a great stabilizer. If any of your footage is kind of shaky, being able to fix that is terrific. The audio adjustments, things like having denoise, the noise cancellation, or I guess noise reduction, that's a better word for it. The noise reduction feature on this is excellent, but LumaFusion is still a little behind on things like manipulating audio. So when you want to go into your background music and have it fade up and fade down, duck behind someone speaking, that's a little bit trickier. That's still a bit behind what LumaFusion can do. But I really am gonna miss some of these really fun, some of the panning and zooming controls, the cropping, how you can freeze frame. All of the little fun things are nicer in PowerDirector. And PowerDirector has a bigger library of fun effects, fun transitions. So if I come into the transitions here, they've been adding all of these extra sort of digitized film roll 3D and the seamless, hold on, let me get to the seamless. And these seamless transitions are fantastic. There's way less of that here in LumaFusion. So if I go to transitions, they're simpler and a lot more practical. It's wipes, it's pans. I get some really sort of simple burst, and it's a really cheesy light burst transition effect. The zoom blur, these things are kind of like last generation desktop video editing kinds of transitions. And this is one area where I would love to pay LumaFusion for an update pack of transitions and plugins and things that could maybe bridge some of the gap. I'd love to have better audio sculpting tools, noise reduction tools, better stabilization tools for video. Right now, if you want to stabilize video on a phone, you kind of need to use another app and then import that file into LumaFusion. This is one of the things that's tricky about showing this stuff on camera is these tiny little buttons. I do want to show you, again, the philosophical differences in rendering this stuff out. So yeah, I'll have to deal with that. But let me show you this main difference. On LumaFusion, I want to export a movie. I just want to dump it into my media folder, and I get all of these incredible options to tweak. I can tweak the resolution, the frame rate. I can tweak the video quality. You know what? Let me take this up to an ultra insane bit rate, 150 megabit per second. Awesome. I have control over the audio, what video codec I want to use. You know, if I want, I can mute the video. Say you want to dump this a short video on Instagram and you know you're going to use Instagram music. Why bother putting the audio on this? All of this is wonderfully precise, and then it gives you some handy little estimates as to how big and what the export duration should look like to finish off this kind of project. PowerDirector is kind of stuck in the Stone Age. You do get options on resolution, and then you have settings for where you want to save the file, the frame rate, so you can change the frame rate on the fly. That's pretty good. And then the bit rate. Smaller size, standard, or better quality. And when you go up to better quality on a 4K video, I believe it maxes out somewhere around a 50 megabit per second video file. So if you're really working on something intense, that is a fair amount of sort of data compression. Whereas here, for example, the camera that I'm shooting this on right now is a Panasonic. This is a mirrorless camera. The 4K video files that this thing shoots are around 150 megabit per second files. It is not an outlandish idea that you could take footage from your camera, pull the memory card, throw it into a card reader, transfer it to your phone, and get a timeline cut up from your phone out in the field without having to turn to a laptop for more aggressive file management. You'd be rendering out that timeline at the bit rate that this camera can shoot, whereas you have no such option. to do that kind of heavy lifting in PowerDirector. But I would maybe be able to forgive that if PowerDirector maybe had the faster rendering engine. Again, if you're working in the field, you can make compromises in some areas to expedite workflow in others. And 50 megabits per second, that's a wonderful bitrate to throw up on YouTube. A 50 megabit per second 4K video file looks really good even after YouTube's compression, especially when people are watching primarily at lower resolutions like 720p and 1080p. Well, unfortunately, that is totally not the case. So I'm gonna switch to just this static view side by side and running this exact same project from both phones. So I'm using the Pixel 6a Tensor 1. I've been using this test for years. So what this test is are 6 clips from a Panasonic mirrorless camera, 4K, 30 frames per second, 100 megabit per second video files. There's a 1-second transition in between each clip. There's a watermark, and there's also a soundtrack, and the main audio from each clip has been muted. I have been timing this exact same timeline for years now. And as you can see, I feel there's a distinct advantage for LumaFusion in a test like this over PowerDirector because of the way that PowerDirector handles files. So not only did LumaFusion win on the Pixel 6a, LumaFusion also won producing a higher bitrate file. I feel that's a pretty big deal. So this is the thing that kind of breaks my heart, because if you've been following my channel for a while, you know one of the things I care most about is competition. It really is not a good thing when there's only one winner. And if we're talking high-level video editing on mobile, the only app I can rightfully recommend right now, in this moment, the time this video was shot, is LumaFusion. Even full price, 30 bucks once or $35 a year. Better file management, poorer file management, better file transferring, almost no capability for file transferring. Buy it once, never have to worry about a license again, constantly trying to re-verify your subscription. PowerDirector's plugins are more fun, but the nuts and bolts editing is more feature complete on LumaFusion, and then you wrap it all up. And if you've jumped through every single hoop that PowerDirector is gonna make you jump through, LumaFusion is gonna crush for your final rendering speed. There are a bunch of ways that you can kind of tweak and edit and complete a video project on an Android phone. From Google Photos, just giving you the ability to trim the head and tail of a single video clip, to this whole collection of new like CapCut style free video editors that work great. They are very good at just getting you through the process of putting out like a little TikTok video or a little Instagram, a reel or a short. If you want to do something a little beefier, the main trio has been PowerDirector, KineMaster, and now LumaFusion. At some point, maybe I'll break down what's going on with KineMaster, but right now, KineMaster is charging $120 a year for a piece of editing software that I don't like as much as PowerDirector. I don't like the plugins as much as PowerDirector, and the rendering engine is not as fast as LumaFusion's. So I really can't recommend KineMaster anymore at all. PowerDirector, I mean, if you're kind of into the workflow and you've got your project set and you never transfer files and you can always kind of keep up a good enough data connection that it can verify your purchase, I think PowerDirector is still okay, but I would highly recommend folks looking at really getting some projects done on the go. Now's a good time. Now's a good time to sort of evaluate your workflow, look at what kind of projects you're trying to complete, and if you can jump on the $20 license for LumaFusion, it's such a steal. This is desktop grade video editing software. Easily goes toe-to-toe against all the light versions of programs that we get like Premiere. LumaFusion is taking a hearty win. I'm not playing the game of, well, you know, you use the one that works for you. No, go LumaFusion until PowerDirector can fix all the things that I've been complaining about, like why I still have a watermark here. The only recommendation I can make is go LumaFusion. LumaFusion, go! I've been getting a few questions on this, and I've been cutting projects and finishing projects. We just got a little feature update and a little bug fix update on LumaFusion. It has been running gloriously on Tensors and Snapdragons. It works awesome on a folding tablet like the Duo 2. It just really has been a joy bringing this over to the Android ecosystem. And then if you really jump in on this stuff, it's surprising. A phone like the Pixel 7 Pro is not only able to go toe-to-toe against Snapdragon 8 Gen 1s, this phone is actually outpacing iPhone 14 Pros on an app that was brilliantly optimized for iPhones. So again, we can't pretend that Apple is indomitable in CPU and GPU performance. A Pixel is coming in hardcore on an app like this. It really does matter when we can shoot amazing 4K video from our phones. Now we can finish the entire process of making something from the camera that shot the footage. So that's where I'm gonna put a pin in it. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, subscribing, smashing bell icons, checking out my home site, SomeGadgetGuy.com, or if you're joining the list of names scrolling by on your screen, from my Patreon. That's patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. And this list is the coolest collection of tech pals who are getting all of my early insights on these apps and how I'm using real-world apps to compare performance between different phones. Because benchmarking apps don't really tell us how really hardcore video projects are going to work on the go. You know where you can find me around the rest of the internet, at SomeGadgetGuy on the Twitters and the Twitch, not so much on the Facebooks or the Instagrams, and I will catch you all on the next comparison.